Hey there, powerful creator. Today, in this video, let us talk about how to let go of the how and the when while manifesting your desires. Because, my friend, you already understand that if you were to live in the end, when your desire is already manifested, you wouldn't have to think about the how and the when, because both the how and the when, they're already done. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not in your imagination, it's not in your consciousness. So if the how and the when come to you in your mind while you're manifesting, they appear as some roadblocks that you need to let go of. So in today's video, we will discuss exactly what are some of the emotional roadblocks that you need to acknowledge, then accept, identify, acknowledge, accept, surrender to, and let go of, so that you can live successfully in the end where your desire is already being manifested. So if you find this topic interesting, stay with me until the end of the video, because I will also show you what you need to focus on to start living in the end more efficiently. That being the case, let's directly jump into the video and get started. Hey there, I am Daniel, the host of the Soulful Relationships channel and the creator of the Soulful Relationships Experience, which is a program, a one-on-one coaching program that helps you experience the most conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships, and surround yourself with only people who support and lift you up in just the next 3 months. So if you're curious about how that works and how it's possible to get to that stage in just the next 3 months, you can schedule a free discovery session using the link in the description below. Now, that being said, let's again get into the topic. So first of all, I want to share with you a really interesting story of how I reached this conclusion that thinking about how I will manifest my desire, how I will get to where I want, how I will achieve my dreams, and also thinking of when will that happen, how much time it would take, like what is the roadmap that I'll pass through to get to where I want, and like how long it would take. All of this thinking is biased, how I got to that conclusion. So like 3 to 4 years ago, even more, I think actually 5 years ago, when I was just starting and like starting on this self-empowerment journey, like personal development journey, when I was just starting to read books, self-help books like personal development, achieving your goals, following your dreams, so on and so forth. Well, everybody in these books tells you to, well, you need to create a plan and then follow that plan to get to where you want, right? To achieve your desires and dreams. But what I've noticed for like 2 or 3 years following this mechanism, this way of thinking, is that anytime I actually start strategizing of how I can get to where I want and like how much time it would take me and what are the exact steps going from A to B, A being the place where I am, which is not likable, I don't prefer it. B being the place where I want to be, where my desires are fulfilled, where I experience joy and fulfillment and like the connections with people I want, the success I want, so on and so forth. And so I create a plan going from A to B, like a step-by-step process. And what I've noticed through 2 or 3 years of experience is that 90% of the time I am wrong. I don't know what is the path. I don't know what will happen going from A to B. I am not smart enough to understand that. And so anytime I actually create a plan, it fails. When I actually go and follow that plan, it changes. It's not the same as the one I've created initially. So repeating that mistake, like, I don't know, hundreds of times maybe on that personal development journey, I've realized, well, it just doesn't work. That's not intelligent. It doesn't work. It's not effective. It's fucked up, right? So I realized that I am not as intelligent, as smart as I think I am to know exactly what I will go through until I achieve the result I want. So then I realized, well, maybe there is another more efficient approach. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I just don't understand how this works, like how this process of achieving our goals works. And this is when I open myself up to law of attraction, law of assumption. Like first it was Joe Dispenza's work, then it was actually David Hawkins' work talking about letting go, then it was Joe Dispenza's work, then it was Joseph Murphy, Abraham Hicks, then eventually Vadim Zeland and transurfing, and then eventually I arrived at Neville Goddard and the wall of assumption, which, my friend, is the most powerful thing you can apply in your life. Because what the wall of assumption states ultimately, and like the essence of the wall of assumption, is that feeling is the secret. And another interesting thing that Joe Dispenza talks about is that if we can experience the feelings of our future now in the present, well, then our future comes to us because we have already gone to the end, right? We've already experienced what it's like to live in the end. And so this is the same thing that Neville Goddard speaks about, right? So feeling is truly like a really powerful thing. It's a powerful medium for achieving our goals and dreams. And so feeling is the secret. Then we have the wall of assumption, right? And so what Neville states is that feeling contains, the feeling of your desire being fulfilled, contains within it both the power and the plan of self-expression, meaning that everything and anything you need to do is to know what would it feel like if your desire were already fulfilled. Would you experience fulfillment? Would you experience love? Would you experience satisfaction? Would you experience the joy of recognition? Would you experience like the shared connectedness with your loving partner? What are the feelings you would experience? This is everything you need to know. You don't need to know the how, you don't need to know the when, but they will inevitably come in your mind. They will come in the way as roadblocks. So how do you let go of them? Well, this is exactly what I wanted to share with you in this video. So after realizing that I'm actually failing, every time I create a plan, I'm actually failing. Anytime I want to have a circumstantial control. To make things easier, let's just say that anytime you want to control how things would happen, this is circumstantial control. And anytime you want to control when things would happen, this is again circumstantial control. You're trying to control the circumstances of your life instead of controlling how you feel. And so anytime you actually try to control how you feel and try to like do some exercises, let's say visualizations, affirmations, scripting, whatever it is that you do, all of this works, by the way. So choose the one that works best for you. Mirror work, for example, this is one of my favorites. I have affirmations written on my mirror. Whatever you do that is connected to manipulating your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and perceptions and impressions that enter your mind, that then get expressed out of you, this is called vibrational control. Let's just, to make things easier for this purpose, to call it circumstantial and vibrational control. So what you notice going on this path, like moving on this path, which you already are if you're watching this video, is that anytime you're attached to the how and anytime you're attached to the when, if you look a little bit deeper, if you investigate, if you decide to be a mystic and go to the depths of your consciousness to see why is it that I even entertain ideas of how I will achieve my wish, my desire, when everything that I've read about the topic is that I shouldn't do that. So anytime you get attached to the how and you approach that with curiosity and you investigate deep, you start asking yourself the question, why do I want to know how? Why? If I understand that like all the time I fail, why do I want to know the how? What you go to, what you realize, and what are some of the feelings that you get triggered and that you need to let go of, are the fear of failure, of worry, like this constant worry that is almost like how was this word called? It's like a chronic worry. You're chronically worrying about how things would happen. So in the depth of that, if you question it to the depth of it, to the source, to the core of it, you see the fear of failure. Part of you, maybe this inner child of yours, is terrified of failure. Is terrified. What would other people think if I pursue that dream and that desire and like I do everything that I'm supposed to do and eventually I fail? How would other people see me? Well, I know, my friend, I understand you. It's not a pleasant feeling. But you see, you need to accept that feeling, as paradoxical as that sounds. Because unless you accept it, like until you accept it, it will cloud your awareness. It's like it will appear in front of your eyes as filter, and you would constantly look to the 3D, the three-dimensional world, doubting yourself, being skeptical of where is my desire, where is my manifestation. So you actually need to accept and surrender the fear of failure, because you will fail. It's inevitable. If it stays in your consciousness and you're constantly looking on the outside to see like proof of where is your desire, you're actually looking at the outside to prove to yourself that you will not fail, right? So inwardly, deep down within yourself, what you don't want to admit is that part of you is afraid of failure, and that's okay. It's perfectly fine. All of us are afraid of failure. It's human, but you need to accept it, to approve of it. And then by accepting it, you can actually let it go. And on that space that gets cleared, you can assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now, another feeling that you'll notice is the feeling of inadequacy. This is something that I am dealing with, for example, in the moment. So, like with this YouTube channel, for example, I have like really great dreams about it, and I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted like to have, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers in the next 3 months. So, but what I notice is that sometimes I feel a little bit inadequate, right? So inadequate of what I'm sharing, how knowledgeable I am, how do people perceive it, and sometimes I also become envious, which is like the expression of inadequacy. When I feel inadequate on the inside, I become envious of other people's success, of other YouTubers. And so, okay, this is another feeling that wants me to control the process, that keeps me attached to how do I get there? Well, so knowing that this feeling is there, it's much more intelligent to accept vibrational control and let go of that feeling than it is intelligent to assume situational and circumstantial control, in which I try to like control how much videos I upload, like what topics I talk about, so on and so forth. So, and the same applies to your desire, right? So if you feel attached to the how, and it constantly comes to your mind, well, it becomes your responsibility, my friend, to go deep, look within yourself, and see why. And what you notice, what you realize, is that you're harboring the fear of failure. You're harboring feelings of inadequacy, not being inadequate to be the person that would live your ideal. Another type of feelings that you'll notice is feelings of self-doubt. So you're doubting the process. You're not sure, you're not certain about it. That's why you want to look for evidence, for proof on the outside. And you look for the outside constantly, trying to seek synchronicities. But you won't see synchronicities because signs follow, they do not precede. Again, this is what Neville teaches. Signs follow. They will only follow when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, right? So again, like if you feel doubtful, well, it's okay to look at that feeling, and because if you find yourself seeking for proof and evidence on the outside, look at how you feel. I'm telling you, you will find the feeling of doubt. Your stomach, your abdomen, it will feel restricted. It will feel pressure. There will be pressure. It will be stiff, and so there will be resistance. And it's okay to inquire within that resistance and ask yourself, why do I feel that way? Like, how does that feeling help me? Does it make me feel secure about getting to where I want? Or does it actually stand in the way? And if it stands in the way, if I'm already the person who achieved my desire, who is living my desire, who is embodying my desire, would I feel self-doubt? Most likely no. So if you wouldn't feel it, well, you cannot hold two contradictory states of mind in your consciousness. One of them will always win. So you need to acknowledge that you're feeling doubtful, and then you need to let it go. And I have many other videos about letting go in my channel. You can check out the whole playlist in the description. I'll put it. It's like a whole playlist about letting go, how you can approach letting go. And I'll talk about this in a moment also, like in this video. But so again, these are some of the feelings that will come up, and you need to work with them. You need to let them go. Now, looking at the attachments to the when, this is another interesting topic. So it's like, when will I get what I want? when will I manifest my desire, right? So we are always too attached to wanting it to happen in a specific time period, time frame. Because if it doesn't happen in that specific time frame, well, it might not happen at all, right? So it better happen in that time frame because I don't want it to not happen. So what are some of the feelings that stand in the way, that make us attached to thinking of the when? So you'll find feelings of sorry, feelings of insecurity. Maybe part of you doesn't feel secure about living, about embodying the feelings of your desire. Would you feel secure experiencing great amounts of fulfillment and joy and love and like satisfaction and the feeling of empowerment, the feeling of security? Like, would you feel secure with this feeling? Or do you, on the other hand, feel a little bit insecure? Because if you feel a little bit of insecure, well, again, you need to acknowledge that feeling, let it be there, stay with it for as long as it wants, until you understand it, until you accept it, until you become comfortable with it. And when you become comfortable with it, then you can just let it go. And when you let it go, again, what happens is that space by itself, by default, naturally clears itself. This feeling dissolves into the presence of your awareness, and it is automatically exchanged by the feeling of security. I feel certain, secure, that what I want is coming. I know it because I feel it. And if I feel it, there is nobody who can tell me otherwise, right? So again, feelings of insecurity, something else, lack of self-worth. Maybe part of you doesn't feel worthy of what you desire. It's like, would I be able to accept all of that? Is it too much? Maybe it's too much. Maybe I'm not enough for it, right? So unworthiness. This is what the feeling of unworthiness looks like. So if you feel unworthy about like meeting the person of your dreams, about getting the job you want, about fulfilling that, get like experiencing that dream relationship you want, about, I don't know, whatever your desire is, if you feel a little bit of unworthiness whenever you think about it, whenever you imagine it, whenever you think about what it would be like if I was living my ideal. And so you imagine, you put that question out there, and then you start feeling resistant on the inside, and there is this feeling of unworthiness. Your body like restricts itself. It becomes stiff again. There is some tension somewhere. Stay with that tension. I cannot tell you how much it will teach you, my friend. And by staying with it there, what happens is that when your awareness is focused on that tension and you let it go, you let it be there, you let it cry itself out if it wants to. If you want to cry out, if you want to do something like to release that feeling, do that. It will happen by itself if you just stay there for long enough. And what you will realize inevitably is that this feeling was appearing there to show you what you don't want, reminding you of what you are capable of and what you are worthy of. So it will actually increase your commitment. It will increase your conviction of your feelings, of the feelings of your desire already being fulfilled. So it's okay to stay with it, right? So I know this sounds paradoxical, but just think about it. If you feel unworthy on the inside, and if you run away from that feeling and you try to cloud it and cover it with affirmations, visualization, all the other techniques you're doing, and you find that you're still doubtful, you're still thinking of, when will that happen? When will my desire manifest? Well, just inquire, where are these thoughts coming from? Are they coming from a feeling of unworthiness? And if they do come from there, well, what if you could stay with that feeling for a while? What if you could let it go, right? So what would happen? What's the worst case that would happen? Interesting. What if you detach from that feeling and you just observe it and you let it dissolve in the space of your awareness? It would naturally transform itself to the feeling of worthiness, to the feeling of I deserve, it is mine. What I want, I already possess. It's on the inside. It's psychological state that I allow myself, give myself permission to embody. So again, this is another feeling you face. Now another one, maybe this is like again really specific for my situation, but it may be for yours too. So desire for validation / approval. It's either validation or approval, and they're really similar. It's like You want others to validate that you are the person you want to be first before you accept you are that person. So you want others to validate, to approve of you, of what you want, before you give yourself permission to be that person. Now, this is really interesting. Why do we do that? Because again, it's like this is what keeps us attached to when. Well, we do it again partly because of feelings of insecurity. We do it because, well, it's like we've grown up being so influenced from our parents that it's like this inner child of ours always wants permission, always wants to know that it's okay, it's secure to have, that it's safe to have what it wants. And so that's why it's looking for validation on the outside. Now, what if we let go of that too? What if we allow ourselves to give the validation we seek, the permission we seek, the approval we seek, we give it by ourselves instead of looking on it from the outside? Well, it's something interesting because then you can just allow yourself when other people are rejecting and like saying things that are not in alignment with the feelings of the feelings that resonate with the fulfillment of your desire. Well, then you can just stay there, not react, not attack, don't defend, like just stay there and know clearly with absolute certainty this doesn't apply for me. I know who I am. I've given myself permission to live in the end, to feel the fulfillment I want, the joy I want. And so I don't seek approval anymore. But again, to reach that stage, and like this is something I'm going through, I cannot say that I'm fully there. It's still something that I'm practicing on a daily basis. To reach that stage, you need to investigate, inquire. Why would I feel desire? Why would I be attached to the desire of being validated, to the desire of being approved of others? Why do I need that? Why would I need that, really? Why would you need that? To be secure, to know that it's okay, right? To give yourself permission by knowing that it's okay for others, for other people who are important for you. These are maybe your friends, family, it might be your romantic partner, whoever it is. Like we're always like this inner child of ours, it's always seeking validation. That's not necessary, and you can definitely let go of that if you inquire in it. And again, it's like you will reach some feelings of lack of self-worth and insecurity, but it's okay to stay with them for a while, because the more you stay with them, the more you let go of them, the more space gets cleared that naturally gets filled with the feelings of your desire already being here now. And so what happens when you consistently let go of those feelings and detach yourself from the how, from thinking of the how and thinking of the when? Well, then you naturally start thinking from the end. So it's like thinking from the end presumes that it's already done. What would you think? Now, this is a really curious question you can ask yourself. You can like repeat it to yourself on a daily basis. Well, what would you think if you were coming from the end? So if your desire was already the case, if you were already your ideal, if you were there, because when you are there, you like that part of you, that version of you that is already living in the end, it doesn't need to know the how and the when because it's already there. So what would that version of you be thinking? And a really curious question I enjoy asking myself is what would I think if I were currently in the presence of my ideal already realized? Because I know that it exists. If I go beyond time for a moment and just connect with that version of myself, I can inquire how would that version of myself think in a really challenging situation when I'm starting to doubt myself. And so when I'm doubting myself, I ask this future version of me, it's not future, but it's the fulfilled version of me that's living in the end. I ask it, what would you think in this situation? Tell me, how would you perceive it? And so this is like how I give myself permission to actually live in the end, right? So this is what thinking from the end feels like. It looks like that. So again, thinking from the end is everything that is not thinking of the how and thinking of the when. Now, these are two huge categories. So you can think only of the what. This is the secret I wanted to share at the end of the video. You can only focus on the what. You can only focus and contemplate on the what. If you want to live in the end, this is how you do it. It's like you don't like you can't give yourself you cannot allow yourself, you cannot tolerate any longer to think of the how or of the when, and you cannot tolerate having circumstantial or situational control. The only control that you're allowed to have is vibrational control. Now, does this reach your mind? Do you understand? And so having vibrational control, you're only thinking of your feelings. How do I feel now? And how do I want to feel? And what would I want? And if I already got what I wanted, if I already had it, how would I feel? How would this make me feel? And if I experience a contradictory feeling to the feelings I would experience when I get what I want, why do I feel that way? Because I cannot see anything other than the contents of my consciousness. So if I see skepticism, doubt, and if I see like evidence of what I don't want, then obviously I have some beliefs, some feelings that are making me see that. And I need to inquire what are those feelings to let them go. And most of them is what I shared with you. Not everything, but most of it is that. So anyways, I really trust you found this video to be helpful, my friend. This was everything I wanted to cover and share in this video. Now, if you found it helpful, if it gave you a little bit of these aha moments, like it, comment down below. Let me know what is your experience living in the end, from the end, and applying the teachings of Neville Goddard. And if you're looking to connect and talk about these topics, I'm really passionate about it, so you can always schedule your free discovery session. It's free, and we can just talk about like the law of assumption, how you can apply it with much more ease. And yeah, if you're just looking for a friend with whom to discuss, that's the way to do it. That being the case, thank you so much for staying with me. Now, if you want to go deeper in the law of assumption and in the other videos I have, you can check out the whole playlist. I will put it in the description below. It's like it has more than 13 videos already. So yeah, definitely check it out if that's curious. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me until the end, and I will see you in the next video. Also, just forgot, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to it, because this is how you help me fulfill my dream. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. I love you, my friends. See you around.